sound effect? I don't know. Probably either that or musical clip. I'm doing this in abject silence. So, thumbs up for that. Anyway though, howdy, 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 nearly senior citizen here. Greetings boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this. Me waving my hands in the air like I just don't care. It was hot yesterday. Oh my god, I almost died. It is going to be hotter today. Even though I kept windows and stuff open downstairs, it never cooled down below 73 Fahrenheit. So it is hot downstairs. And since heat rises, it's hot up here. I have had to change things over in the window because I've had the window open with the fan blowing in there, and that didn't work on a hot day. Even though there wasn't a lot of actual openings for hot air to get in, there was enough that it was blistering. I almost died. I was sweating in here. So, window shut, and I am really sad. Outside the window was an orb spider that had connected to a bunch of things, and then when I took stuff out of the window, that disturbed that spider. There's another spider on the inside, so I hope she's okay. Where taking everything out of the window tore down her web, and she panicked, and I can kind of see her moving on little pieces of paper that I have taped up there to try and block sunlight. So she appears to be at least okay, but if she puts up her web and it gets cooler tonight, then I gotta open up the window, and that's gonna tear up her web again. I feel bad about this. Yesterday, I was actually getting water out of my little kitty dish and splashing it up there so that she'd have water to drink even if there were no bugs to eat. So, I feel bad for these spiders that I went and tore their lives apart, but at the same time, oh, it is hot now. I have 2 fans on outside. The fan in the window I have right next to me here. So even though there's no air coming in from outside, it's only 20 after 8, and it's as hot outside as it is inside. And inside, it's almost 75. Oh, it is hot, it is humid, it is not good. So hopefully with the things that I've got going here, because we're supposed to hit like 101 today, and since it's always a little bit hotter than what the forecast say it's going to be, is going to be a scorcher here in the Pacific Northwest, right in Washington State, where typically it used to rain all the time. Does it rain in the summer anymore? Not really. Does it snow in the winter anymore? Not really. Yay for that. Anyway though, now that I've talked about the horrors of the heat, aside from that, I didn't get much done yesterday because it was so hot. Even with the fan in the hallway blowing directly on me. Even with another fan down the hall blowing the cooler air down here so that fan would blow it in here. Even with all of this, it was so hot, I was dying. And I say I don't do well in heat, and I know human beings on the whole, in general, do not do well in heat. That's why traditionally places where it gets really hot or on the equator, you go and lie down during that time because it's not good to be up and moving. There is a moth flying around in here, came in during the nighttime. And it's a big moth too, like this big around. You can't see up against my transparent, my glowing white face. About that big around. It's pretty. I like moths. I feel bad that it's going to die, but we all do, even moths. But yeah, so I got next. It took me about an hour to watch a 20-minute video. Because I would go, okay, I need to wake up and rewind it because it would have been finished and I only saw like the first 5 minutes of it. So I'd rewind it and try to stay awake and then have to rewind it because to the same spot, because I kept falling asleep. So I didn't even go walkies yesterday. I don't think I'm going to be able to go walkies again today because it's going to be so hot all the way till around midnight. And when it's this hot, and especially you're older, I hate to be 60, but I'm 60. You need to be careful. You can get damaged by the heat faster than younger persons. I'm doing my best to stay hydrated. I think I drank almost this entire thing just this morning. So it's... I drank a lot yesterday. And I was worried, but nothing that was coming out as liquid output was concentrated. So even though I felt super dry, at least I had fluid coming in and going out like it was supposed to, and everything showed up as being okay. So thumbs up on that. Past that, let me take over a look on my list and let me see, because I've written some stuff down over time, and so, I mean, a lot of it is just stuff that is minor and doesn't matter. I mean, I'll talk about this one. It's amazing how quote marks have taken on such a different meaning than their original intent. I mean, even 100, 150, 200 years ago, they were probably likely using them much the same way we do now. But it just seems so weird that a way to indicate that something is spoken or supposed to be a quote or something like that now largely just indicates sarcasm if you see it written down. So that's I mean, not in the context of, here's the conversation and it's going on, but if you go to a store and they'll say, like fresh milk, and they'll put quotes around the fresh part, that don't mean it's actually fresh. You're saying it's something approximating fresh. So it's just weird how it's done that. I have a jumping spider on my back wall. That's really cool. I have watched a lot of stuff about jumping spiders, and I have ADHD, in case you can't remember that, or this is your first time watching, and so I'm always squirrel. So yay! But there was a jumping spider on my back wall that was traveling downward. Jumping spiders are awesome. I mean, I've always liked spiders while being terrified of them my whole life. I have had arachnophobia while at the same time finding spiders to be they have a frightening and terrifying alien beauty. Now I'm not arachnophobic anymore. I have the totally normal, not irrational fear of creepy crawlies that human beings have. If we didn't have that fear of creepy crawlies, we wouldn't have survived throughout our history, because creepy crawlies can be really dangerous. So aside from a generalized fear, quote marks around the fear of just creepy crawlies, I'm not afraid of spiders anymore. And jumping spiders especially, they are smart for what they are. There are people that will say jumping spiders or my tarantulas or these spiders, they form a bond with me, they know who I am, they love me. They don't. Like reptiles, they don't. They don't love you. There's no room in their heads, especially for arachnids. Especially though, jumping spiders, they are smart for what they are. They are incredibly inquisitive, and they're not if they determine you are not a threat, they'll let you pick them up and hold them in your hands. They may not be happy, but once they've determined you're not a threat, they're just going to wander around and look at stuff, because they're smart enough to determine that you're not a threat. And they've watched them do just learned hunting strategies where they'll hide, they observe an insect, and they determine which form of attack to take. They are incredibly smart for what they are, and they're the cute kinds. where they have the great big eyes on the front and then all the littler, tinier eyes, but they can focus and see details on the moon. They have that good a vision, so they can see you and stuff. They don't have the brain power to have things like love, because their brains are concerned with, I need to eat. I need to not be eaten. If they're not focused on that, they're not going to reproduce, because something's going to eat them or they're going to starve. It's only when you get further up, and not further up, there's no ladder of beings. It is all just an interconnected web. But once you get to out of the invertebrates and into vertebrates, and then the vertebrates with larger brains, like cats, dogs, ferrets, other mustelids and such like that, possums even, where there's brain power to spare, that they can do things like develop affection. So it's nice that you've gotten a friend as a spider, but the spider doesn't see you as a friend. Which, on this one video that I was watching, the guy was talking about that, saying it's okay to form a bond of affection with creatures that can't return that affection. We are human. We do that. It's okay to love a being that is incapable of returning that. Not as human beings, but smaller creatures like spiders and reptiles. Thumbs up. Checking my time because my sister called. I've gotten her the registration. I'm going to be making a video today and sending that to her. I hope. It can't be too big or you won't be able to send it online, but I'm going to make a video of the outside of the car and what it looks like, and the interior of the vehicle and what it looks like. I may be getting like $250 if they'll come and get it. It's sad. It may be fixable to be able to be driven again. The thing is, of course, I don't have the money to fix it. I don't have the money to clean it up. It may be a great vehicle to drive if you can fix it and clean it. I don't have the money to do that. So it may be going for scrap, it may be going for parts, it may be going to get fixed up and people will drive it again. It's hard to say, but at least it'll be out of my hands, because right now in my life it is a non-working vehicle that I can't even afford to tow anywhere. So it's sad. My wife bought this in 2002, but life is life. Is there anything else here written on the side? Actually, yes. The one big thing that I wanted to talk about on the creative front, I'm not able to be extra creative because of everything that's happening here, everything that's happening with the housing situation. My social worker left me stuff. I need to call for some places there to see if they'll be available. So that'll be good. I'm going to try and do that today. Where was I? Oh God, I love ADHD. So I can't even remember what I was talking about. My sincere apologies. Oh boy. But I know I was talking about, there's that moth in the background if you can see it. But there, I wanted to talk about the creative, oh, wow, dive bombed by a moth. But the creative front stuff, because I am unable to be creative, especially in the heat when I'm trying merely to survive. But I mentioned yesterday, I'm really getting dive bombed by this moth. I mentioned yesterday how when the kaiju rampages, and remember the kaiju is, it's when it is standing on 4 feet with its tail and its head, and all the outer surfaces are covered with oddly geometrically shaped pieces of large, invulnerable stone-like armor. Excuse me. But it's feet, and that's a solid city block where the feet are on each of the 4 quarters. Add in the length of tail, add the head and neck in front. And then this is what is rampaging through the city, because it can walk and do this and 4 feet. But they have like possum hands, the kaiju does, and that it works as both paws and then rears up on its hind legs like a T-Rex. And then it can work like a T-Rex, except it's got regular arms that can scoop down to the ground, grab a handful of humans, wedge it into its mouth, and eat. So it's got that one where it's, about a quarter of a block wide, add the tail, and very, very tall. This thing is horrific and monstrous. But I mentioned that while it rampages, it also tortures people. In that, it lets about 10 people survive. Really just close quarters, you could reach out and touch it, sort of, is letting you survive so that you will suffer mental torture the rest of your life. One of the couples that I mentioned, and this is what I'm doing in that I can't be thoroughly creative, but I can go through and think about characters that I have so that in situations, locations, etc., so I don't forget them, and make sure that they fit perfectly within the setting. File off any rough edges, add something here so that it fits better. Henrik and Issa Ibdn, Ibdn was Issa's last name, and Henrik took that on, were the couple that were standing on the top of their house, where there was kind of a balcony thing, watching the kaiju come toward them until it was about 15-20 feet away, and then it walked back up onto the clearing, the landing on Apple Rock Mountain, and curled back up. Henrik and Issa are an older couple. They look like they're, if not in their 60s, in their early 60s. Henrik is not a human being. Henrik is a doppelganger. But there are two types of doppelgangers, at least on the razor's edge. One of them is horrific and everybody hates them, even other types of doppelgangers. Because these are a thing with no real shape to their body, but they'll sneak into your body through some orifice and then start eating you from the inside until they wear your skin, and then they start eating all the people that they can while they're hidden in someone else's skin. Everybody hates that kind of doppelganger, even the other type of doppelganger that Henrik is. Henrik is a type of doppelganger where you can look like another human being, you don't look like other things. Henrik took this shape of what he looks like and started to age them when they went into Apple Rock. Before they did that, they spent about 100 years of life, because they lived a couple hundred years, but they spent 80 years of their life when young as a standard doppelganger, just basically out of control, eating without needing to eat, and just being a general monster. But then that started to change between the ages of 80 and 100 on their own, even before they came to Apple Rock. And this was a big change because they started to not view people different, but view the way they interacted with people. Starting to, while not make total friends, befriend others, to not be so horrific, to only eat when necessary. So they were about as non-monsterish as a monster can get when they came to Apple Rock, at which point in their human body they became affected by this gas that the kaiju emits, which it is designed to really screw with people's heads. You are drugged to the gills if you live in Apple Rock. The big, large, hard to break down molecule of this inert and seemingly inert and non-harmful gas that you breathe, it takes time to break down into its metabolites, but the first molecule latches onto some place and starts doing its work. As it breaks down, each of the metabolites goes and latches onto the receptors of the places that they're supposed to go, doing things to your body. Those metabolites break down for specific spots in the human body, and then they are eliminated. you are drugged to the gills. Your dopamine, your serotonin, your oxytocin, your prolactin, and a whole bunch of other hormones are now under the control of this gas you are breathing. You feel this incredible sense of community. Some people feel just actual panic attacks at even the thought of leaving Apple Rock. And some of those that do, the world is cold and harsh and nasty because your dopamine, prolactin, oxytocin production drops down to survival levels. And only when you get that gas back in your system do they start coming back up. The world is cold and hard, but Apple Rock is warm and inviting. This affected Henrik too. He started courting the younger woman, Issa. They were both, he came in at like the effective age of 20, started courting Issa. They got married and have spent, it took a couple years, but they got married and have spent the rest of their lives growing old together. Issa knows that Henrik is a doppelganger. And Henrik has to devour a certain number of human beings every year. They had thought themselves, checking my time, oh boy, they had thought themselves a monster, but Issa said, I would not fall in love with a monster. And I don't really have time to go further on to this, so tomorrow I'm going to talk more about Henrik and their journey to remind myself and everyone else about what's going on with them. And more. But for right now, I want to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. Beautiful and awesome people. Thank you so very much. Without your help, I would not be able to make it. So thumbs up and thank you. There are people out there that have donated to my GoFundMe and in the past to my PayPal. Thumbs up and thank you all. Especially there is Blue Toad left a comment about how they and I believe it was their brother, I would have to check the comments, we're going to get there, of making TikToks and Instagram things, directing them to people to my GoFundMe. Thank you so very much. It is appreciated. I do need to make my own video. I hate executive function issues. I hate having ADHD. I hate being, not all the time because I don't hate myself. I hate the condition. I don't hate me. I dislike being neurodivergent at times like this when I need to do things and can't. But thank you, each and every one of you. You're all beautiful and awesome people. And I'm going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. I have to get rid of the spotlight there. And try to remember. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I'm going to be counting up here with my hands, it's primarily for stimming. So, yay. Oh, that doesn't crack because it doesn't hurt. Yay! We have JAYY, thumbs up, thank you very, very much, and oy vey, this day, I am dying from the heat right now, and it's only 20 minutes to 9 in the morning here in the Pacific Northwest as I record this. We have Blue Toad, thumbs up, thank you, and it is your brother. Thank you so very, very much. It is appreciated. You are a good person, and I do thank you. There is Flora Mew, greatly appreciated. And yeah, it's even hotter today. And I only want to be Pagliacci at times in the vlog because of things that I want people to listen to. Like my story stuff. And I don't want to turn people off from that by never putting on the Pagliacci mask so that they go, oh, I want to leave. So that's the only reason that I want to not focus too much on the nasty stuff that's happening, because not everything is terrible. And again, once I get through this, in a year, this will all be resolved for better or for worse, whether I survive the surgery or not, whether I'm homeless or not. In a year, it's going to be resolved, and either things will be better or worse, hopefully better. But I think everything will be okay in the end, hopefully. So thumbs up, thank you very much. And the name Yamil, I think part of it is a real name, Jamil. I'm quite sure, but I'm not positive, so yay. And yeah, I've read and played the game of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. M is terrifying, but yeah. So, there is Chris, greatly appreciated. Thumbs up, thank you much. And H. Hizzle, greatly appreciated. Trampoline Kingdom, greatly appreciated. And I got to go to the store, but I can't in this heat. So, yay. 77 Arcturus, thumbs up, thank you much. And, life is life. We have R.J. Mitchell, greatly appreciated. And yeah, I got super in deep on the lore yesterday. I had to, because to explain what was happening with Harmon, there's so much of the universe that has to be explained to understand. Yay! And then there's Jesse Koskinen. Always good to see you in the comments, my friend. Lumeria, thumbs up and thank you very, very much. And that is it. So greatly appreciated each and every person that left me a comment. It's never many that do anymore, but anything over 0, awesome. Try to move my hands for maximum thumb contrast against my background. Well, I got stuff to do today. I gotta try and take that video. Oh boy, and it's not nice outside already. I gotta make some phone calls. I gotta try and not die in the heat. That's gonna be the biggest one. Thumbs up for that. Hopefully you can get done what you can get done and what you need to get done. But if you can't, don't beat yourself up. It's better to survive than not. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing. Lots of hand movements. My shoulder hurts, but it's not terrible. I can't even go to my bedroom in this heat. It is just blistering in there. Yay. So I can't do any work in there. And a lot of the stuff here, well, this won't take long, but So I gotta turn this on because I record everything on my PlayStation 4 these days. You take care, and I will see you. Maximum contrast. Maybe if I bring it back further. Maximum contrast. Tilt my hand there. There we go. Remember, that's just I, love, and you. This is, that one's just, it means cow, bull. That's a bull in ASL. But I-L-Y. And then you do that all together. So thumbs up. Thank you much. I will see you on the flip side.